of stuff we could look at? Do you want to watch some replays that you played, or?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you have any recent games from the last week that in particular you'd like to look at?
Yeah, I do have a couple.
Okay.
I've been more playing more as position four
Uh-huh.
for a while, but I recently switched to playing more as core.
Okay.
And one thing I've found myself is I'm not doing or I'm not aware of the map at most times constantly, like you should be.
You're not. I'm sorry.
Especially,
You're not doing what on the map?
I'm not checking the map and I'm not predicting map movements
Mm-hmm.
as well as I could or as well as I should.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what I wanted to work on.
Okay. I would the first thing to say about that is I would say it's important to do that sometimes, but it's not always. I guess it depends what you mean. Do you mean like when you say predicting map movement? Do you mean like in the laning stage when people disappear from lane and
No,
show up?
laning stage I'm good. I don't get caught out all that often.
Uh-huh.
And if I do get caught out, it's usually with a smoke gang. So in laning stage, I'm good. But when it moves on to mid game,
Mm-hmm.
when the laning stage breaks down, like after we take tier one top
Gotcha.
or something like that,
Then you don't really know where people are going, basically, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I've been watching pros replays and trying to predict with that. But the problem is again, it's 3.5k. So
Yeah. Okay. So you're 3.5k MMR. Like how long have you been around that MMR?
um, I would say I haven't played ranked all that much. I usually played unranked with my friends. Ranked, I started grinding like in the past month. I went up to 3.6k, 3.6k, yeah, and then
Okay.
I dropped back down to 3.3.
Okay. So I would say in terms of mid game movement, a lot of what I get my guesses from is feeling. So it'll be things like where should they be right now, and that is harder to do at lower MMRs. But I also play a lot based on just. Unfortunately I don't look at the map very much. I honestly don't have the presence of mind to look around and figure that stuff out. So we should be able to find some solutions that are just kind of based on what you see naturally. And obviously you have more control over that if you're warding. But we'll try to find some patterns that you can hopefully follow that give you kind of like a reasonable control over where your opponents are and you don't get out of position too much. So why don't you give me a match ID?
Okay. Um, 1 second.
Sure.
This is a game I got destroyed
Okay.
as Brood, as a
Okay.
solo mid Brood against Viper and Bloodseeker. So I think they should be good for starters.
Cool. 3-4-2-8 4-4-5-2-6-3.
Oh, by the way, I'm streaming. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, downloading the replay. It's from 6 days ago, and you played mid Brood, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been modeling this after the way that Matoma Man's been playing it?
Not necessarily. At least in this game, no.
Okay.
This game was I was more greedy this game. Brood just felt good because it was a Solomon Viper.
Did you play or did you watch any of the replays where Matoma
Yeah.
Man played it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because my guess is basically that he's figured out the most efficient way to play it.
Yeah, I understand the usual thinking behind his build, like Mascot Pandas, especially with Insatiable Hunger. Like, it is really good, and you can just destroy pretty much everything with that. So it's the same idea going Mascot Pandas on Sven. Just you get a huge boost from your ultimate and lets you DPS faster and lets you chase faster.
Gotcha.
But
So actually, normally what I do for these is I will share my screen on Skype, and
okay.
by doing so, I'll basically set my my XSplit as a screen region or as my webcam kind of, and then it'll be higher FPS. But I think I need to switch my Skype version because the new Skype version doesn't do this, if I'm not mistaken. So
Okay.
I'm gonna call you right back in about 2 minutes, and then you should be able to see high FPS on my screen. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Be right back. Come on, Skype. Here we go. Time to open old bad shitty Skype. Shut up, Skype. video to XSplit. This. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know if you can see my video here. You just open my webcam and full screen it, or if you need to, feel free to just if you're streaming this, you feel free to like screen region your Skype window or something.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. I just don't want to make your stream less interesting to watch. So, what we'll do is watch from your player perspective for most of this, and then check to see if you're making any glaring mistakes. So, AoE-wise, there's really not that much this game.
Yeah, that was one reason I went for. Like, I was gonna pick Sniper, but they did have really good capitalization potential on Sniper, so I just switched to Brood.
Okay. I think your starting items are fine, I'm pretty sure. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't watched the Matumba replays, but I assume that it's pretty similar.
Yeah, I don't think he goes at Clarity, but he goes Mango and goes Soul Ring.
Okay.
From there, so I think that's...
So checked his items, it's all good. You're going to lose the range creep, that's a big mistake.
Yeah, and that is one more thing I figured, like, I'm not that good at last hitting because I was playing support. But, yeah, that can be overcome with practice.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing a lot of free last hits, basically, because he doesn't really know where you are. What are you bringing out on the courier?
Sentry.
Oh, okay. For the purpose of what? Did you see him place a sentry himself?
No, I was worried about roaming Purge.
Oh, okay, and you do prove here that he has it, so... Now, one thing that I think you could have done here is, even if you use Spawn Spiderling on one creep, I think it can be worth it, because if you get one spider, then it just auto-attacking the Viper will do damage over time. And that's one way that that you can really get a good payout. This is also inefficient in your time. You're basically standing here, not doing anything for like 5 seconds while you wait for the courier to come here, but you still could have been trying to be a little competitive. This is good that you ate this, but see, like you're missing so many last hits at this point. Like he's passing you, and I don't think that he should be beating you in last hits.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you just lost a lot of gold potential. And right here, honestly, I would just pressure him. Like he's at half HP right now, and you can hit him more because you're always gonna have more regen than him because you have max webs. Like you've got 3 from spin and web. I don't even know it gave you 3 at level 1 right now, but you've got 3 regen from spin and webs. You already dewarded his sentry. He actually went Wraithband with, I don't even know if he had anything else. I think he bought his own sentry or something, so he didn't buy a tango. This guy actually didn't have regen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think you did click on him. I didn't see...
Yeah, he didn't have any regen. He had a sentry, which is why I flew out mine.
I see. So what you should look at, if you look at his items and he has no regen, your idea should be, I'm going to hit the shit out of this guy, because you've got...
Trade him to all
exactly. Because you got a mango, you got a full set of tangos, and you've got 3 HP regen from Spinweb. And if things get really bad, you get 2 points to Spinweb, get an extra 2. So, like, this guy is actually screwed. If you just summoned, even if you, like, as soon as you hit 2, if you summoned a spider and just right-clicked it on him, the spider's going to have, like, 400 HP. Every time the spider hits, it's going to do, like, I don't know, it's like 12 magic damage per second. It's not a lot, but if you just get this guy low, he's screwed. He's lost his lane. Because at this point, if you just trade efficiently with him, he has to ferry out regen, because what's his salvation? It's either salves. Like, Viper doesn't even have, like, a fast regen item that he buys into his build unless he goes, like, Headdress or something. So, like, ignoring all the last hitting problems that you've had thus far, when you're, especially if you're at low MMR, you always have to look for these kinds of exploits. Like, are they playing standard? Like, everybody just assumes, oh, my opponent's probably doing the right thing. But if you just click on them and see things like this, dude, it's a huge opening. A huge, huge opening. Even like right here, look at this trade situation that was happening. You went for the range creep, you didn't get it, but look at this right here. It's you versus the Viper. You guys actually have the same armor. He does slightly more damage. Yes, you would give yourself corrosive skin, but you got 4 creeps hitting this guy too. So I guarantee if you hit him right here, like 5 times, you would get kind of low. You'd probably go down to like this much HP, but this guy would lose all of his. Yeah, and he would lose like just tanking the creeps alone, he lost like an extra 100 HP. So you could have gone at least 2 auto attacks into him, I think. Maybe more.
Okay.
So you're missing some laning principles definitely. You're missing the not knowing when to trade with him. I mean, it's kind of similar when you're playing support and you're trying to zone an offlaner, right? You're just checking to see what they have. Are you going to trade better than them? Can you actually zone them from range? Like, I would even, personally, I would just grab these spiders, run them in, attack Viper once, and run them back out again. Because as long as he doesn't kill the spiders, you lose nothing. And these are really high HP. Like, the ones that you spawn, I think, at 400. If I could click on the damn things. This is difficult. Alright, I'm going to press play. Okay. They have 450 HP. They do 18 damage. If they hit him, that does 8 magic damage for 2 seconds. Like, that's huge. And if you just run all 5 in right now, and just slap him, he'll take a bunch of damage. He doesn't even have he has no damage block or anything like that either. So it's okay that you're getting like last hits using your spiders and all. Like, this is very safe, but I think you're not abusing the matchup as much as you could.
Okay.
Like, you should, like, as soon as you have spiders and they don't have AoE, you should be crapping on this guy. Like, as soon as you got 2 spiders, 3 spiders, run them at him, hit him once, back up. If one of them gets low, split them off and go run them over here until they die, or run them to the Ancients till they die, and then use the rest of the spiders to abuse this guy. Because every second that your spiders are not attacking, you are making a mistake. Because this guy is still in your lane, he still has more last hits than you, and he still doesn't have any regen, and he's going to get away with it. This dumbass is buying an Aquila first. Like, you should just be diving. Like, honestly, you should be diving this guy already, in my opinion. Especially once you hit 4 and you have more nets. Or webs. You should deny every single creep, and you should get every last hit. So you're kind of playing this like you're an offlane hero, but really, like, Brood is in some ways a better version of Viper, because you can control the lane so hard, and most heroes can't deal with you 1v1, especially if they don't have AoE. Okay, he actually brought himself a tango, but we're 3 minutes into the game, and you lost 3 minutes of pressuring him for that advantage.
Yeah, he probably should have spent at least one more salve on the regen.
At least. To tango. And because you didn't pressure him well enough, he got the space to get the last hits to get the regen he needed. So if you just zoned the shit out of him before he got all these last hits, at most he would bring himself a tango right now and he wouldn't even have a Ring of Aquila. But you basically let him get stronger than he should have gotten based on your lane matchup.
Got it.
So you got to see those opportunities and take them big time. Are you bringing Soul Ring out now? Which is good.
Yeah, once my Soul Ring comes, I just start harassing him in the spawn. Again, it's not...
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can do that with your spiders alone, period. Alright, now you're going to send those to Ancients, or Neutrals. That's fine. Using your nukes on Viper, it's just not worth it in my opinion, because he's got magic resistance. So it's doing a little bit less damage than normal. And if you use it on a creep, you get 2 spiders, which attacking him is going to, in the end, do more damage.
Yeah, that's 36 more damage.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting some gold and stuff from sending them into neutrals, but it's not that much. Like, you still haven't right-clicked him once with spiders, and it's 4 minutes in.
So I should be using my spiders more like Lycan Wolves.
Like a what?
To harass Lycan Wolves or Beastmaster
Boar. Exactly. Because they do a lot of damage. Especially once you stack them up to a huge level. Like, you sent your spiders down here, you killed a large camp, which is fine. You got probably 130 gold out of it. But that was like 8 spiders or something. And if you had like 15 spiders right now, and they were stacked, you could hit this guy for big damage with a hit. Now, afterwards, they're going to take corrosive skin damage, so they'll spread, so it won't be as efficient. But, like, if you have webs, and you should basically have webs, like, you should have a web probably, like, here or something, he shouldn't be safe, pretty much, because he still doesn't have a sentry, and there still hasn't been any harass. You're just letting him get gold, and he's getting just as much as you, and he's denying more. And now he's got boots, so he's harder to kill. Like, you're just giving him so much advantage. And you're not denying anything either. You're actually just sitting around waiting to get last hits. And the only way you're harassing is with spawn spiderlings. But it should be spawn spiderlings, your hero right-clicking, and these right-clicking. Mix of all 3. Because otherwise you're not taking advantage of your hero as well as you can. And you're trying to last hit with like 4 little spiders. If you're doing this last hit thing, it should be like a huge pack of spiders, ideally.
Okay.
He uses his ultimate. Like, this guy got away with so much here. You could have like easily zoned him from lane, crapped on his lane, taken the tower early, and doing things like this to like leave in the lane to basically go back and farm is just not very worth it in my opinion, because
yeah, I learned that yesterday. Yeah.
Because you could be in the lane instead.
Creeps, yeah.
Exactly. And now you're using all your webs to basically expand your farming ability, but again, it's not what it's supposed to be about. It's about beating your opponent in lane and when it feels dangerous, like you might get ganked, then you can back up and farm. And the big thing that Matumba Man did very, very heavily in his games was he actually did Ancients. So he basically, he did webs in the middle, he did webs going over here, he did webs going over here. So when there was downtime, he goes and does Ancients. And I believe he rushed Deso, not Midas. I think the Midas build is not bad because you have a cooldown perk. Like, it's actually very good. But he got fast Deso so that himself and his spiders will kill Ancients really fast. And then he can always safely jungle in a place that is high gold payout, despite how much HP they have. So that's kind of how he made it work. That's how he abused Broodmother, basically. You're still still missing a lot of last hits. You should at least last hit with your hero, if not the spiders, because you missed like 3 or 4 last hits here. Alright, did a shitload of damage to the tower, which is all good. Like, dive this guy, honestly. He only has 2 tangos. He's, for some reason, maxing poison attack. The only thing you have to be careful about now is the dust.
I saw his dust, yeah.
But that's fine. Run your spiders at him. Maybe he gets a spider or 2. But he's also going to lose. Like, if... I don't know how many spiders you have right now, but it looks like probably
I should have plenty, yeah.
15 or something, 10. If these all run in and they all do like 18 damage or something, his resistance is 34, every single one is going to do 12 damage. So if 10 spiders run in and attack him, he's going to take 120 physical. Just from one attack. Run him out, let him heal a little bit, go back in, do it again. That's like how much damage your nuke is doing. This does 210, and he's reducing it by... Is this accurate? There's no way that's accurate. This is bugged, because he's got 10 here, yeah, and he's got 25 base. But it's probably like 35 or something. So your nuke does like 150 damage, or something like that. Maybe a little bit less. So your spiders can attack and do just as much damage as it takes for you to cast Spawn Spiderlings for 120 mana on a 10-second cooldown. So lane pressure alone, you're definitely not doing this right. It's safe, you're not dying, but you really should be just dominating your lane. Just basically, it's one of the big points of Drow, or of Broodmother, excuse me. I would say this was kind of a big mistake because you didn't have a web. Like, you were still dusted, you weren't on a web. You should have ensured that you were...
I should have just gone into the trees, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Or just hide until the dust goes away with a web down. And you just got a new spin web, which is fine. Like, there's no way that this guy should kill you first. The only time he maybe should have killed you is if when his sentry was down or something, or if there was a gank. It should have been like you ruining his life, pretty much. So I would say so far you're doing okay here, but you're missing major laning principles, which I'm sure just happens because you haven't played core that much. And you're also, of course, missing the big point of this hero, which is doing Ancients. So if you do it mid, if you play Brood mid, you got to do the Ancient thing, because I'm quite sure that Matumba Man figured out an efficient way that furthers you. So maybe fast Blightstone, then go into the 2 Mithril Hammers. Maybe you can go the Midas build, but realistically, it's going to probably really slow you down by a huge amount. Because if you get a Deso, that means you and all of your creeps are doing like 30% more damage with their auto attacks, which is huge against Ancients when they have this much HP. So if you want to do this build where you go Midas, whatever, you can do it if you want, but it's going to limit the advantage that doing Ancients does. Okay? Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
It's just better to usually copy them unless you're trying to expand into something yourself. I mean, maybe there's a reason to justify the Midas. Like, if you're crapping on your lane and you don't even have time to do Ancients, whatever, do get Midas. If you can get Midas to like 6 minutes or something stupidly fast because you killed Viper twice, I think that's reasonable. But in a game like this where you're playing kind of even, you should look to gain advantage, and a Midas is going to do that, but it's not going to punish them. It's going to increase your passive gold gain and your levels, whereas a Deso will increase your farm rate by you killing things faster and give you a higher chance of getting kills, whereas 30 attack speed is not probably going to make it the easiest thing to kill a Viper. Spending your 2,000 gold on something that does probably will be better, if that makes sense.
So Midas timing within 10 minutes is good, if you're carry or mid lane.
I would say yes. It kind of depends on the hero, because there's some heroes like Invoker that'll go like Null Talisman, Brown Boots, Raindrop, and then get a Midas later. But if you're playing a hero that's a little bit non-conventional, I generally try to only get Midas if I can get it like before 8 minutes, usually. If it's like, if I'm buying on a Midas on a hero that I don't feel super comfortable buying Midas on, I only get it if it's real early, like really early. Like Chaos Knight or something, it'd have to be like, I had a really good laning stage and I felt justified buying Midas, kind of a thing. Is how I look at it. Otherwise, it's probably better to get items that actually help you get kills, and then you still have to play to get kills. Otherwise, like everything I just said is irrelevant. Because if you just buy Midas but then you sit in the jungle all game, whatever, Midas is probably better. But if your opponents pressure the map correctly and gank and push towers, Midas is going to hurt you probably.
Got it.
Because Brood falls off late game anyways, and they have heroes that kind of counter you in the first place. And I know you said comments like, "Oh, I had a rough game because they had heroes that were good against me," but we're 9 minutes in and nobody's touched
No,
you.
no.
You know.
This one was after this. Yeah, I got ganked one too many times. So, yeah, I see the problems you're pointing out in the laning phase. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because them ganking, like at this point, you've essentially, as far as I'm concerned, you've had a free game to do whatever you want, and you haven't taken advantage of that. You haven't been ganked once. And yeah, they're going to gank you later, but that's super normal for Brood. Brood's going to get out of control at some point, he'll push your towers, and then they're going to be like, oh, we need to gank that guy, and they're going to roam at you with like a dust and come try to kill you. So I would say that you basically had a free game, but you just didn't take enough advantage. Even still right now, you got like 20 spiders here. Just run them at the Viper. I think would be useful. To be honest, I don't think it's really worth watching the rest of this game because the laning stage is so important.
Yeah,
so.
I saw the follow-up.
Let's can we watch another replay?
replay?
Sure.
This one was another loss on Lina, but I did do decent this game.
Okay.
Especially in the mid lane. In my opinion, I was overly aggressive, but I did pay off with a couple of kills on the mid laner. So.
Which hero did you say you were playing?
Lina.
Okay. 6, 8, 1. Okay. Yeah, looks like your KDA was pretty good. Your items look pretty standard. You had high damage. This looks like a good game. You're laning against Invoker, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
okay.
I don't think so.
Oh, Storm. Zeus? Probably Storm.
I don't remember. It's been a week, so.
Okay. Well,
I think it should.
Luckily, we could download it at least.
I think it is Invoker, yeah.
Missing some
so
protocols.
in the laning phase, like, what should be the core principles that I adhere to? Like, I watched you coaching Day9 on playing support and carry, but I didn't watch your mid lane.
That's probably for the best. I'm not the best at mid lane, but your goals should be getting pretty much every last hit, denying your opponent when possible, looking for opportunities to get kills or to harass them efficiently. And once you do that, if you have an advantage, you need to abuse that advantage to zone them from the lane, take extremely favorable trades, or kill them, basically.
Okay.
I think you were alt tabbed here. Okay. So you're going Salve here with your first bit of gold, which is good, and then Bottle, so you're basically following the pro builds, which is solid. Like, you just have to... The easy way to say it is to dominate your lane, and that's done basically by getting more last hit stuff. Don't all in on your block so hard, because now your block is essentially
ruined,
slightly better than normal. So something like this, you attacked him right before it was time to deny, so by the time you go for the deny, you were a little bit late. Denied. One trick you can do, for example, if there's two creeps dying about the same time, this didn't really happen here because he auto-attacked this one twice, but if these died at the same time, one thing you can do is... Yeah, I could
just deny one and use my spell on the other.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be good. Like, maybe even here you could use it because you'd get a last hit and you'd be able to harass him at the same moment.
Yeah, I was just conservative with mana early because I didn't want to spam too much.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. So you nuked here. You didn't get both, unfortunately. Try it when you back from a creep. Try not to turn so much. So one of the problems you're having is that when it's time to last hit, what you're doing is you're running your hero in a circle. And then when you want to go for the deny, like right now, you're running away from the creep.
But I should be facing the creep at all times.
Exactly, because you're forcing your character to have to turn and then go for a last hit.
Yeah, just a quick thing that I'm getting a call.
No problem. You can take it if you need.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
It's okay. Alright, so at this point he's got a level advantage over you. Which which basically means that fighting here is a little bit disencouraged because you don't have as many levels. Really, you should just be focusing on getting last hits, and you definitely seem a little bit off.
Yeah, I'll outright say it, like, I suck at last hitting pretty much.
Do you ever practice?
Yeah, I took Sin's advice on that. Shadow Fiend with no items in a lobby.
Yeah, I would recommend doing the same for Lina. One of the downsides of Lina is she has a really bad animation, so you have to get very used to it. It's definitely one of the crappy parts about her. Like, you're doing much better now. I don't know, maybe you're getting stressed out by the fact that he has more creeps or that he's beating you in lane or something.
Nah, I was just that happens in every game, so that's not
Okay.
isolated. So it doesn't matter like which hero I play. Viper. Usually my Viper is a lot better. Like if the attack animation is good, like Quap or Viper, like I do decent.
Okay.
But other times, even if I'm playing a carry, I do miss last hits.
Careful with your screen framing. This is kind of poor because you see all the stuff you don't need to. I would prefer it right now if your camera was here. See how much better that is? You can see Invoker. You can still see all the creeps, but you're not looking at this crap over here that doesn't matter.
Okay.
So just try to be careful that you always keep your camera where it's going to be important.
Yeah, I'm. Okay. So you want me to like focus around the stuff I want to see and not on my hero all the time?
Correct. Because I mean, other than the fact that the only thing that would have been nice about looking over here is if they gank you from this direction, for example. But even like having your camera like this might be better because if you're standing here, you might see them break smoke faster or something. Or even looking this way, sometimes they break smoke running directly at you, for example.
Got it. Got it.
I should probably pull up the last hits. Yeah, honestly, both you guys are last hitting, I would say, poorly. It's not like terrible, but it's not great.
Yeah, yeah. I should be. I mean, it's 2.5 minutes in, so it's 5 waves. So I should have at least 20 last hits.
You're definitely doing a good job harassing him here. Like this.
Gold for me.
This would be a good time to come up and right-click him more, in my opinion. Because the tower attack range is something like this. But if you stand outside of it and right-click him and walk forward, you will get an attack in without it aggroing. And if he's this low, and Lina has a huge attack range, it's like 670, whereas his is only 600.
Yeah, I think I do that here and kill him, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
Because you're basically nuking him. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I saw him and yeah, I just went in.
But he made a huge mistake there. That was more so him messing up big time
Yeah, that's
versus you pressuring in a good way. Like nuking here, that was great. You got a last hit, you got him in a really dangerous area of life. But at this point, you should be right-clicking the crap out of this guy because he is so low right now, and his armor is not good.
And then finishing up with the nuke.
Yeah, exactly. Versus the way you did it was basically like...
I got lucky.
It was... No, he played like shit. That's all. You didn't play lucky. You basically took advantage of something he did that was bad. Like right here, creeps are all low. He's still standing here. He should know that Dragon Slave goes about this far. So you basically nuke to get last hits. And then he stays. Like, what is he doing? As soon as you threw the nuke, he should have been booking it. But he's a slow hero, and he basically stuck around, and you get all these free right clicks. So you got a kill because he did something stupid, basically. And that's still it's still great that you did that, because like the start of the laning stage, I would say you played quite sloppy, but the last minute you played really well, I think. Good last hitting, pressuring him correctly, all that stuff. Right here, just throw on right clicks. You've always got right clicks. They're free. Like you could always attack, nuke, then attack again. It's more efficient than nuking and then attacking. Because you're putting your animation on cooldown. Like this is great, just like hitting the crap out of him.
Invisibility.
Oh, that's more true. You lost your bottle charge. I would even consider salving here maybe. This is that was overkill big time. You got no last hits out of it. I don't even. Oh, okay. It does look like you could see high ground. But at this point, if this guy's got this low of HP and you're better at trading, you should miss no last hits, number one, and he should get no last hits. Because if he comes up, what you do is you're going to trade with him.
I should just nuke.
That was unfortunate you missed that one. But you missed 3 of these last hits of the 4, and you're winning the trade. I think you might have missed that one as well. But right here, why nuke early? Do you see what I mean? You got him really low, but
I could have just double-clicked him twice and then, right-clicked him twice and then nuked him to kill him.
Exactly. Rather than just let him know, oh, by the way, I'm pretty close to killing you. You could play around the fact that he might not realize he's low, land the stun and nuke him, or like you said, attack him twice then nuke. And yeah, maybe the tower will aggro you, but again, you can de-aggro.
I always have salve. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, tower doesn't cancel salve either way, right? So.
Yep. So if you do a crazy dive, it really doesn't matter that much. I see why you nuked there. I think it would have been better to save your mana though. It's 2 creeps. You're like, oh, I can get 2. This is fine. Oh, I can push the wave, but you're still at a point where you're almost 6. So mana conservation at this point is going to make a big difference towards whether or not it's easy to kill him. Like even if you just do something like slave him twice in lane and then dragon slave, it's so easy, so much easier than trying to land Light Strike Array. You can also drop a Null Talisman while you're bottling up if you need mana super badly. Like this is how this guy is laning now because you're beating him. He has to walk up and throw Chaos Meteor and walk away, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like this is what should have happened last game when you played Brood, pretty much. You're doing it well here.
I push it out back to jungle.
Range creeps will always take 2 attacks. You should have had that one for sure.
Tower is under attack.
I'm okay with this because his HP is pretty full and you still haven't shrined yet, so it's definitely something you can abuse. I would even consider, instead of hitting this, I would have followed him up to the high ground and kept right-clicking him. Because if he tries to trade you, he's got creeps following him. Like, it's not like the catapult's going to die anytime soon. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Like right here, as soon as this dies, you just follow your creeps. Go, start moving up, start attacking him, maybe nuke him again or something. So you're basically giving him the ability to last in under tower without being pressured at the same time. And here what you're doing is you're pushing the lane, of course, but again, you're spending so much mana on nuking that even if you do try to dive him under tower, it might not be very successful. You also should have brought yourself boots before getting your arcane boots, because you're limiting your ability to do...
Yeah, that is one more thing I don't usually see. Like, when I get the courier and my team keeps using it, like, I don't see that I don't get the items.
Okay.
That is one more thing I should fix.
So yeah, if your team steals it, it's understandable. I really hope you drop your arcane boots when you use the shrine here. Right. Oh, thank God. Ooh, scared me. I'm looking at the arcane rune and your arcane boots. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a real value. You also should have dropped the null talisman as well. That would have probably gotten you an extra 40 mana or something like that. So at this point, he's still low. He's probably going to have to go shrine again. But look at his items now. He's actually almost got his Midas. And you were crapping on this guy, but now you're even. Your levels are probably about the same. Yeah, he actually has slightly more experience than you. But just a moment ago, you were beating him heavily. And the reason is because you were being inefficient with your mana. You weren't pressuring him quite hard enough. And to be honest, but just by pushing the wave, you're helping him. Because every time you nuke...
He's getting last hits under his tower.
Exactly. So whereas if you just sat there and the creep wave was like here or here, if you have like full mana and you get every last hit because you're good at last hitting and he has no regen, he's screwed. He's just screwed. And if he does want to come forward, you nuke him. Or you try to kill him.
Okay.
So you lost a lot of advantage there. And now it looks... I'm guessing you're wrapping around to try to get a kill on the Invoker.
Yeah.
But huge waste of your time. You're wasting your Arcane Rune. You're wasting your time. This is a bunch of gold that you could have had. And what's he doing? He's playing it safe because he doesn't want to die. Which is smart by him because he's so close to the Midas.
Middle tower is under attack.
And now you're walking to the bot lane. Like, honestly, you shouldn't even gank side lanes unless you have an Invis, a Haste, or a TP Scroll, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because this is just, you're putting so much weight. Like, he's actually got an advantage over you in this last minute, even though he walked all the way over here to Shrine and kill a neutral camp. It was like a pretty big mistake by you, I think. And instantly upon getting this kill, you should run over here, grab a TP and TP mid, because you've wasted so much time.
Yeah. I lost 2 creep waves solid.
Yeah, you lost so much. Like, he's actually at your level right now. And here, honestly, I would have even just gone for a stun. Like, he doesn't even have boots yet. You're running like 60 movement speed faster than him. You don't have your ultimate, but it doesn't matter, because if you cast spells, you're going to attack rapidly. And I don't even know if he'd react, but if you stun that guy and Dragon Slave and start right-clicking him, he's going to take so much damage.
That's even more damage. Yeah.
And that Arcane Rune that you had, that you basically used running around, you could have used it to just pop Arcane and spam the shit out of the wave. And every spell you cast is going to cost way less mana. So then you could have, like, pushed lanes heavily and kept a lot of mana and possibly gone for kills or harass on him that would have been efficient. But instead the Arcane was wasted because you're hoping to find him. Like, you shouldn't even use the Arcane until it was time to fight. Like, if you're looking for him, save it until you're like, oh, I'm about to cast a spell, then use it.
So until I get my core item, like, I shouldn't even be trying to fight.
If you... Sorry, repeat that again?
I mean, until I get at least 1 core item, like, I shouldn't be trying to fight. Unless necessary.
I would not frame it as having a core item. I would frame it as how much time are you spending and to look for a kill, and what are your chances of being successful. So, like, yeah, I get you wanted to wrap around on the Invoker because that'd be a way to kill him, but you didn't know for sure if he'd be back. You also didn't know exactly where he was, and the amount of time you spent to get there was heavy because you went this way. You walked all the way down here, then you walked all the way over here. If you really wanted to do that, what I would have done is back and go this way. It's much shorter. It gets behind him, and then if he doesn't show up for like 10 seconds, you can be like, okay, he either has a ward or he's not coming. Then you just walk up the mid lane and start pushing it. So that would be a way to wrap around, but not fully commit yourself to being in the middle of frickin' nowhere and wasting your time. Because you walked all the way around, he didn't show up, then you're like, oh, I'll just go bottom and gank now. You got the kill, but you also could have just walked to here, walked down here, and then ganked bottom. That would have probably been better than wrapping to try to kill the Invoker, in my opinion. So you lost a kill attempt right here. You stunned the guy. You didn't really know if you stunned him. But I guess this is dangerous, because if he cold snaps you...
Cold snap, Sunstrike, I'm dead.
Yeah, it was a little dangerous, but I think you also could have killed him because he had 481 HP. This does 310. This does 450. So that's like what, 760?
Yeah, he's dead if I
Yeah.
land both.
If you land both with maybe one auto attack, he dies. So I definitely think you should have been more aggressive there. Maybe drop Arcane Boots when you're bottling here, out of safety. He still doesn't have boots, by the way. If you slave ulti this guy, he dies. Not sure what you were doing the last 10 seconds. Messed around.
I think I was flying out items, if I'm not mistaken.
Missed, I think, 2 to 3 last hits there.
Dire's bottom tower is under
You probably
attack.
should have followed the creep wave. Even like right here, I would consider looking to see if he's going to pay attention. Like, because like, look at this. Creep wave's coming up. He's at half HP. Man's just standing there. All you need to do is slave ulti and he dies pretty much. And the range on these are pretty big.
Dire's bottom
Maybe
tower
not the
is
ulti,
under
of course,
attack.
but the slave. Like, you could come
Yes.
forward and just be in the area. Even if you take a tower shot, it's not a big deal. You've got a salve, you've got rune control, you've got bottle that you can refill soon. Like, you have all this advantage that you could be abusing. Like, just like that is basically what you should be fishing for against the Invoker. But instead, he's still matching your farm pretty well. And he's still getting more last hits than you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Lina beats Invoker mid. If I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
she should. Like, she completely destroys him in every aspect.
Oh, you got to regen. That's good. All right. I would even consider. Yep, this is perfect. Oh, damn, you didn't do it. I was hoping maybe you'd walk this way.
Yeah, and
Pop
go high
regen.
ground and yeah.
Yeah, just stun slave, right click this guy a bunch of times. Like, just be creative with the ways that you can approach. Because right there, you had probably like 10 seconds anyways. Let's count the seconds. That was at least 1 second wasted while you ran like this. All right, so we're at 0.8. So basically, there was 12 seconds until the creeps met. So you realistically could have just started walking this way. Just look to see, like, how long is it going to take him to kill all the creeps? How long is it going to take for me to walk here? Am I going to be able to get here in time, land the stun from the high ground, and then kill him? And honestly, you might have been able to. And if it didn't work, you'll have to walk back, and maybe you'll miss one last hit. But that could have fished for an opportunity, basically. And let's see what you were looking at down here when you decided to TP. You're looking bottom, Bristleback's talking, he's fighting this troll. This is just really dangerous to TP. Because you don't know if this troll is still going to be there when you get there. Like, Bristle, he doesn't even have goo. This guy could actually just walk away. Period. So you're teleporting out of your lane where you're constantly pressuring this Invoker. You're always at threat of killing him. And you're TPing down here just in case the troll sticks around too long. And he already stuck around too long. And maybe this is it's gonna work because you got there at the end. But there's no way I would have ever teleported for that. Unless the fight was like way closer or something like that. And you probably should have casted spells while you were approaching because you would have gotten more Fiery Soul and then ran faster. Maybe. Something like that.
Feed the flames. Radiant's bottom tower
And now that
is
you're
under
here, this
attack.
is fine for you to right click the crap out of it. But again, in the meantime, Invoker's getting more
Invoker's
last
gonna
hits than
push
you.
out tower, yeah.
Like, the whole reason this guy had a good game was because you didn't pressure him well enough, which is very similar to the previous game we just watched, where you were Brood. This game you did a lot better, but
Dire's middle
definitely
tower
a
is
problem
under
both sides.
attack. Has
Missing the
fallen.
last hit lost you about 250 gold.
Dire's structures are
It's actually a
fortified.
shitload if nobody gets the last hit. All right, you're walking back mid, which is all good. You got your soul
Dire's
ring now.
middle tower is
Like,
under attack.
you lost your mid tower. Because now, look at Smoked run through here in Viz. It is a big detriment to lose your tower. And if you have the AoE and he doesn't, he should never take your tower before you take his. So now you've got less last hits than him by about 15. He's gotten 6 more denies. He's also gotten a Midas, so his net worth should be way above yours. It's just a little bit above yours.
Because I've been getting all the kills.
And he also got the tower at last hit. So it's, I'm sorry, I think the bounty is about 250. Maybe it's 200. So basically, you definitely lost your lane, I would say. It's safe to say. You didn't lose it by a lot, but I would say you lost it by... You shouldn't have lost it at all, because you were beating this guy, in my opinion. And you were so close to just crapping on him. You were so close to it, I think. Oops. What am I doing? Enter? Alright, none of my hotkeys are working.
No, you are in, I think, perspective.
I couldn't get it to close the chat window, so I was confused. Alright, so let's go back. Alright, your guys coming from the back. The cell was probably, or the slave was too early. You should be trying to set up the stun, because nuking him is just going to maybe
Yeah, I didn't
spook
see.
him.
To be honest, I didn't see him coming. I had zero map awareness there.
No, that's fine. But at this point here, where you're approaching, like right now you're pinging at the Invoker. This guy ball lightnings. Your goal should be land a stun on the Invoker. But instead what you did is you nuked as soon as you could, which means you stopped moving. So yeah, you're going to nuke him. But that means...
I lose the distance.
Yeah, and because if you hadn't Dragon Slave there, maybe you catch up far enough to Light Strike Array him. And if you Light Strike Array him, he dies. You can always slave Dragon Slave afterwards. Because I'm pretty sure with Laguna Blade, Dragon Slave, in like 3 or 4 right clicks, you will kill him, especially if the Bristle's still there. So you're still kind of missing some opportunities here. Now, you guys can basically push the tower really easily here. So ultimately, is it going to matter that much that... Alright, let's rewatch that again to see if you did it right. Now, ultimately, it's not. Maybe it won't matter that much that you took your tower if you can equalize it here, but... I think your first mistake, honestly, was probably... Let's wait till the rupture happens. Honestly, I think first you should probably assess where you are. You also ran a really long distance to get out of the rupture.
I should have just ran to the left, yeah.
Left, or you could just stand in it probably. It's going to do a pretty good amount of damage. But you also took like a good, I don't know, 200 damage just from running in the rupture. And you spent all this time looking at your wand. You should have been bottling this whole time. Because finally when you start bottling, these guys are already here. And now again you're running away. And by the time they actually do go for the kill, your HP is way lower because you probably lost an extra 300 from all the moving and stuff like that. So I think if I had perfect the ability to tell you to go back and do it again, I think the easiest thing is to just honestly maybe stand still, maybe run backwards. But running this way actually wasn't that safe. It was just kind of unfortunate that the Invoker was right down here. You also had a wand that I don't think you used. Yeah, you didn't. Could have used the wand as well. Just stay put, tank the blood right, use your bottle before the damage comes, use the bottle afterwards if you can, and then once you're not silenced anymore, maybe you can fight. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. It wasn't a great situation. You're quite possibly still dead, but definitely don't buy Bloodstone early. The recipe, that was a huge waste. Because you could have these items faster. Alright, so now you're going to jungle, which is okay. So this is probably the part of the game where you were talking about your rotations being confusing, right? But, like, the laning stage is essentially over at this point. Where do you go on the map? So you TP to the jungle to farm these?
Yeah, the rule of thumb I have right now is like, I will see if any lane is pushing in. If it is pushing in, then I go there. Okay. If not, then I go jungle. That is the rule I use right now.
I would say that lanes aren't going to push unless you go there, is the one thing I'd say. So if Veno is pressuring mid, basically, which is what he's doing, he's just putting wards down and pushing, you could be there too, technically. But instead you went to the jungle. So yeah, you're getting some gold and you're not dying. But if you show up somewhere and very rapidly pressure a tower, they have less time to react. So just by, like when you guys showed up and pressured mid, I think their team reacted really fast, I would say. So it's not necessarily your fault, but if you show up mid and you pressure it for like a minute, they're going to be there, right? But you know that the first 20 seconds you can safely pressure it a little bit. So if you just show up mid, nuke the wave twice to kill it instantly, and then back away to go hit the jungle, then they might rotate over to defend it, but by the time they get there, you're gone anyways. So there's like, when you pressure lanes, you basically have to do it rapidly and efficiently. And by doing so, it makes the game, it makes it harder for your opponents basically to react with what you're trying to do. Alright, pretty easy double kill. Rotation was good. You guys lost bottom tower now. That's one of the other downsides of jungling, is that by jungling, you're not actually doing anything on the map.
I probably shouldn't have TP'd into the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think the TP was fine, but pressuring lanes definitely would have been better. If you want to get a lot of value out of your slow ring, drop your arcane boots before you use it. You'll get like an extra, I don't know, 30, 40 mana or something like that. And if you do that enough times, you have way more mana pool. Your mana goes farther.
Yeah. I saw your advice on the trend switching.
Okay. Yeah, another example here of you jungling instead of doing something on the map.
And I didn't have enough mana when I came in to do anything.
Cancel your animations here. It's okay. I think this is fine. I mean, again though, if you were dropping arcanes to use Soul Ring in the jungle, you'd probably have an extra 100 mana or something like that. Yeah. Same thing, drop arcane boots, pop wand, pick them up again, all of a sudden you get a crap load of mana. Ultimately you killed this guy really easy, but the mistake that I wanted to point out here was you weren't canceling your spell animations very well. You're wasting a lot of extra time. like right here.
I do cancel my attack animations, but yeah, I don't cancel my spell animations at all.
You gotta cancel those because you lost at least like a fourth of a second or something where you could have been attacking.
Okay.
All right, looking to shrine.
Radiant's middle
This is
tower
good.
is under attack.
Drop arcanes, drop null talisman. And you can put them right back because they take
Radiant's
6
middle
seconds.
tower has fallen.
Then you're running over here. You basically have bloodstone, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you do. So run over here. Alright, so the thing, what I would have done here, I think was pretty significant. You let him kind of know that you were here. The time I would have stunned him is right here. Stun right here. Don't anticipate like where he's going to ball. Like right now, he doesn't see you. If we jump to his player perspective, I don't think he saw you, but we'll see. See what I mean? I guess you still got him. So maybe it doesn't matter, but he didn't quite know you were there, so I would have stunned him as he was going over here. I also didn't check to see if you had checked to see how much mana he had. Obviously that matters as well.
No, I didn't check.
Going top would have been good. That's 100% where you should have gone in my opinion, because you're basically just letting him take a free tower. And the fact that nobody TP'd, huge mistake. Huge mistake.
Yeah, should have let them take objectives freely.
Like it had 70% HP when he started. Just TP up there. If shit hits the fan, you bloodstone. But realistically, he's not going to kill you. They just fought a bunch of heroes down here. So that means this guy's probably solo. What's he going to do? Rupture you?
Blood, right? Yeah.
Like rupture you and attack you for 6 seconds if he silences you. I'm pretty sure you can survive through that because you have so much HP. And if you can't, you suicide. But realistically, you probably can. And as soon as the silence ends, if you stun him, he's got to be really careful because you genuinely could kill him between right clicks and your ultimate. And as a result, boom, you lose gold, you lose map control. You guys lost so much here. That's another like 1,000 gold going to the enemy team, and this guy gets a last hit, so he gets an extra 250 or something. And now they have all this map control. So now if you look at the map, all of your tier 1s are dead. They still have 1 extra, so they have map control advantage over you. They have net worth advantage on some of the heroes, but you could have dominated the Invoker. You could have killed his tower before you lost your tower. You could have been efficient on rotations, and you could have always defended your towers. And if you have that advantage, the game gets so easy. Because if anything ever goes on down here where you're fighting, your team has 2 places to TP to. Your opponents can't split push as well. It's just everything gets so much easier if you defend your towers. And these little like improvements are going to make a huge difference in your win rates. And your opponents are just not going to feel like they can do anything. And then once you get Shadow Blade, you guys have more map control. It's easier for you to see, like if a hero's farming here, with the creep wave right here, and you still have your tier 1 tower and you're somewhere on the map, you can TP, Shadow Blade, kill the guy.
Even if they react faster, or even if it's a trap, my team can react faster too.
Exactly. Like, just defending towers is so important for that reason. Especially when you're playing like a gank sort of core, like Lina. Jungling again, they initiate on your ally. And this is one of the big issues with your play so far, and why jungling is almost always bad, especially in the mid to late game, is that if you just push waves, it forces a reaction. But instead what's happening is your opponents are ganking.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're making things happen in the game. Like, there's fucking 3 heroes standing mid. There's in fact basically 5 enemy heroes nearby. And it doesn't matter because all that's happening is your jungling, which means you're increasing your gold gain, but not by so much that it hurts. What hurts is if you nuke this wave and get 200 gold, and then the next wave comes and you get 200 gold, and then your creeps are hitting the tower, and then they have to go defend your tower. But instead you're jungling. And then they can stand around.
My team, even if I can't respond fast enough, then I can still take the tower.
Exactly. And you have split push options. Instead, you are now forced to show up and try to defend your bristle, but you're getting there late. And they get to basically do this because they're basically allowed to be inefficient because you guys you're not pressuring. And then you have 2 heroes up here that are just sitting because this guy's trying to protect the Spectre, which isn't really very useful either. So, the mistake that I think you made here is always lead with your stun, in my opinion. Because as soon as you use your spells, like I said, their HP is going to get low and they're going to get scared and they're going to think about it. Play around the stun. If your stun lands, then you know that they can't react for 2.5 seconds, and you can kind of estimate how much HP they have and whether or not you need to kill them. Like, it was kind of cool that you tried to nuke a bunch of heroes, but now that you've used your ultimate on Troll, now they know you don't have your ultimate. And this guy's got 400 HP, and now he knows, like, oh, it's going to take 2 Lina nukes to kill. But You should always play around the Light Strike Array stun. Because once you stun somebody, you know that you will have an opportunity. And you're still going to kill this guy, probably. Oh, please. Okay, good. He was going to die to poison anyways. You should have stunned as soon as you landed. So let's look at that again. Also, I think the way that you approached was probably not worth it. You could have came to the trees, maybe. That might have been worth trying.
I should anticipate like where they are going rather than where they are.
Yes. So at this point, I'm going to go to free camera just so I can frame it a little bit better. You did frame it better after a second, but all these guys are really low. They're taking poison damage, which means that they're still going to be getting a little lower. And if you look at your cooldowns while you're in the air, you have about 2 seconds to Light Strike Array. You've got a wand, and you have a Bloodstone. So what I would have done personally is you got to remember, Bloodseeker, he hits hard, but he's actually vulnerable as well. And he also blood righted himself. I would have even looked at these two guys. Like, I'm pretty sure this is a double kill right here. If you land your stun, and you spend all this time basically running, but if you land your stun on those guys, you could probably get a double kill before you die. And if you really want to be next level, you could suicide afterwards. Or you could just suicide. Like, basically the time the tornado ended, your stun was ready. So instantly, you should probably stun like here, or go for the double kill. Just drop it right here, kill the Invoker with a Dragon Slave, maybe try to right-click the Zeus to death before you die. But you didn't do any of that, you just ran. And running is probably the worst option out of all of them. And then finally, when you're like, I'm not going to make it, then you threw the stun. But you should have done it right away, probably. And you nuked the worst guy, because he had the most HP.
Radiant's top tower is under
And then
attack.
Spectre. Like, if Spectre, if you stunned and killed that backline, maybe Spectre shows up and helps you kill Bloodseeker, you know?
Radiant structures
That could have been
are
good as well.
fortified.
Yeah, Spectre was kind of iffy this game, but I'm not gonna blame him.
Yeah. I definitely see what you mean about him being iffy. He's, his build isn't great. I wish he had,
Radiant's bottom tower
like a dust or
is under
something. That would have been
attack.
amazing. Alright, and now you're basically into the mentality, oh, jungle time. And yes, you're getting gold.
Gold for me.
But are you affecting the game in a positive way? Nobody, like, this creep wave has been here for actually like 5 minutes. Not a single person on your team has showed up to push this.
Yeah, that was one thing like I'm kind of scared to do because I
get ganked?
guess it's from support mentality. Yeah, support mentality, but it's so close to their tier 2 tower and it's their jungle, you know.
Yeah, I
And
get
we have
why
no
you have that
vision.
worry, but right now it's dangerous to do it. This guy's got a Shadow Blade and an Echo Saber. He can pretty easily kill you. There's a Storm Spirit. There's a Zeus. There's a lot of scary heroes that can gank you if you do that. But if you did this 10 minutes ago,
Yeah,
they don't have Echo Saber, they don't have Shadow Blade, and even if they do have a Shadow Blade, put a ward over here and put a sentry like here to see it coming, and be ready to TP away. And if you do that at the right time in the game, while also dominating your mid lane, you would be them. You would have a Shadow Blade, and you would be the one that they're fucking scared of. Because you could basically show up here, nuke this wave, disappear into the jungle. You could be jungling. You could be using Shadow Blade to run this way to look for heroes to kill. You could be pressuring here because you already killed their tier 1 tower. It like completely changes the game. But you basically gave them, you let them have the advantage by not pressuring and not laning well enough. And as a result, you have to play defensive now because they have very good catch. But if you were just the one playing aggressive, it would have been completely different. That was good. Good reaction. Did he have a Shadow Blade or something? No, he just actually ran at you.
it's just right.
Kind of weird. And look, they're ganking. They're killing Bristleback. Bristleback was pushing up. I mean, he maybe did something stupid, but the same
Yeah, he
vein,
ran into them. Yeah.
same vein, same thing's happening. You bought a Bloodstone to sit in the jungle to kill neutral creeps. Like, oh, you're ancienting over pushing a lane. This is crazy. This is 200 gold. This is probably 200 gold. No, it's more than that. 50, 109. So this is 180 gold. These 4 creeps is worth more gold than this whole ancient camp, and you kill it so much easier. Like the amazing thing
Just
about
one combo nuke should be able to
exactly, it's so easy. You get 20 mana per second. That means if you spend a combo, you're refilled in like 12 seconds, and you get the same amount of gold, and you still use that mana anyways to kill these. And look, now this guy continues ganking. He's basically doing the job that you should be doing. He's not doing it as well because he's not pushing lanes also, he's just getting kills. But if you're pushing lanes while doing what he does, the whole game mentality changes. Everybody on their team is going to be terrified. You can continue to snowball, and the game doesn't get hard because they don't have like some support storm or some shit, whatever this is, to become a regular hero. Because that's basically what you let them do, is that you let their shitty heroes become like
Burn, baby,
effective.
Yeah, I I had that happen a couple of times.
And even pressuring would allow Spectre to have more space, because if you're busy pressuring the map, pushing the tower, getting kills on heroes that are in the jungle, they're not even going to feel like they have the presence of mind or the safety to go run across the map and gank Spectre. And by you killing all these camps, now Spectre doesn't have as many places to farm.
Anywhere to farm.
Yeah, you got it. Like you're honestly right there on the cusp of doing this for yourself. You're just not thinking of it in the moment, and you're getting some bad habits like jungling. Jungling is just not efficient right now. In terms of, if you can push a lane, it's so, and you're not going to get ganked.
Patch, then I mean, I shrugged out the jungle camp goal.
Yeah, there's way more jungles, but you still kill them slowly at this point in the game, especially as a nuker. Except for these, you should always kill these if you're like Lina.
Yeah.
Because they're so easy and they're worth a lot of gold. But... And now what'd you do? You spent so much time jungling that you felt that you had to go back to heal in your fountain to heal. But again, ever since that troll died up here, I'm pretty sure you haven't done anything to affect the enemy team.
No, I haven't done anything, yeah.
And again, your net worth is still good. Like, you're being efficient, but the way that you're using your time to collect resources is in no way helping your team win the game. Other than the fact that you will have more farm. So if I was to...
priority should be pressuring the map, helping,
yes.
I mean...
Pushing
buying
lanes.
space for my carry and pushing out the lanes.
Yeah, mostly, and that all happens from pushing lanes. Now doing it safely is very important, and that's where we have to solve the question that you had was, how do I know hero rotations later? And it all comes down to how fast do you think they're going to react? So, like, for example, let's say we don't know the troll is here, and if you come bottom right now and you're at this wave and you nuke this wave, let's say we didn't see him just kill this creep wave, what do you think the chances are? Like, how many seconds do you think it would take for somebody on the enemy team to kill you, based on the map? So let's do this, and we're going to go like... So how long do you think it would take for, if you showed up here right now and you didn't know troll was here, how long would you think that it would take for them to show up and kill you?
I'd say at least 10 to 12 seconds.
Exactly. And if you kill the wave fast, and you don't make it obvious where you're going afterwards, then they don't really necessarily know where to be. So yeah, in this case, if this guy had a Shadow Blade and he was a Bloodseeker, and he was farming this camp when you push this wave, that's really unlucky. Because he happened to be farming this camp right next to the wave. I mean,
yeah, but Bloodseeker, like, they have 3 down, so I should be pushing the lane.
Absolutely. You should be down here pushing the lane. You could just double nuke this with Light Strike Ray, Dragon Slave, it dies, auto attack the catapult, and as they're dying, you don't want to show where you're going. So for example, if you kill the catapult and you start running this way, it's really obvious that you're looking to meet the next wave, right? So what they'll do is they'll walk and wait here, wait till the next creep wave meets, and as soon as you show up, they'll jump out and gank you. So what you would want to do is nuke this wave, maybe run this way as the vision goes away.
Or after 2 seconds, I think I can run to whichever direction.
Exactly. Or you can run this way, kill the neutral camp as your creeps are pushing up, wait to see if the creeps meet, you sit here, wait to see if somebody else shows up, and then if they do, you kill them with your Shadow Blade. Boom. Or, if nobody shows up, you say, let's look around the map, am I going to get ganked? Ah, no, they're still dead for 15 seconds. I think this is safe. You'll nuke the next wave, and then you'll back away. Let the creep wave walk forward, hit the tower, and in the meantime, you're slapping neutral camps. Which is fine in this case because of where you are on the map.
Yeah.
If you're slapping creeps here, to gank this lane, it takes you like 20 seconds. But now, if somebody says, oh shoot, creeps are pushing my tower, they TP in, they kill this creep wave, they meet the next one here. You're right here. Super easy. It's like it's the example of you being a troll here, waiting to see if somebody farms here. You sit here, you're farming neutral camps, you kind of hang out, wait around, maybe wait to see, maybe you go for the gank and they back out instantly. Oh, you know if they have a ward then. But so the next time you do it, use your Shadow Blade. So then just by pushing the lane like that, you're getting creep waves down here, you're pressuring this tower, forces people to react. You're farming these camps on the map, which means you're not farming these camps. So now Spectre, who still is not ready to fight, despite having Radiance, he gets the safest place on the map. Super heavy under your towers, behind your shrine. It's dangerous as hell for them to gank him. And as a result, he doesn't have to farm over here, or up here, or push the lanes. So as long as you just take like one wave and you push it and you spend time jungling and stuff, it's going to make such a big difference. Like, honestly, if you go in right now and play a Lina game, you're going to notice a massive difference. Like, the game is just going to be fucking easy. Assuming that you don't do overly dangerous things when you push lanes. Like, if you show up in this lane, you push it, and you walk forward, and you push the next one, and you walk forward, and you push the next one, and you stand here hitting the tower for 30 seconds, you are fucking dead.
Yeah.
You should
They
have
are
been dead
gonna
like
react then. Yeah.
exactly. You should have been dead 20 seconds ago if they were good players. But honestly, that's probably what it'll take at 3k MMR for them to kill you, is you being here hitting the tower for 20 seconds. So just kind of do this like fishing thing. Push the lane, hit the jungle, push the lane, hit the jungle, wait to see if somebody shows up. Nobody shows up, okay, push the lane. Or, oh man, they're 5 top because they're inefficient. Or, man, they ruptured your bristleback mid because there's 5 heroes mid for some stupid reason. Push the wave, do half damage to the tower, do that again later, and boom, you've got a tower. And then you have map control, and then that makes your lane pushing and your ganking in the future even easier. And once this tower dies, the only way they
Then
pressure
we have
you...
control to the jungle.
Yeah, this whole jungle is yours. The only way they can even kill you is to TP to Shrine or to smoke around or be jungling and wrap around on you and get lucky or something. So as soon as you push all the towers down, it becomes even easier for you to know where they are. Then you just kind of ward around their base, maybe put a ward on Shrine, that way you see if they TP in. And this whole area is just yours. They never get this jungle. Now where do they farm? They can kind of farm here. They can farm this area. They can maybe push up the lane up here. But if you take their tier 1 towers, then it's like the whole game is yours. Split pushing, then you jungle. Then you jungle. While you collect shitloads of items while they sit in their base like, damn, if I walk out past the tier 2, the Lina kills me every time within 10 seconds. This is bullshit. And then they'll be like, well, Lina's OP, but the reality is the way you're playing the hero.
Map control should be the #1 priority.
Absolutely. And that's why losing towers is bad. Because it's giving up that advantage for free. It was literally just Bloodseeker walking top and hitting a building until it died. Never should happen. He should have to like show up, gank a hero that's defending it with 3 heroes, and then rapidly push the tower before you guys can react. That's like the only circumstance that you should lose towers in Dota. Unless you like lose a 5-man team fight and they're right there and they push the tower, then whatever, that happens. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
you're on the cusp. You just need to get better at your last hitting. Definitely take advantages to pressure your opponent when you have an advantage. And be a little bit more efficient with where you're moving. Don't like run across the map to get a rune and then run across the map to get a bounty run, unless you like really need the regen or something. And be efficient with your ganks. And then in the mid game, split push, pressure map, and work in some ganks there. And then you're gonna raise like at least like 500 MMR if you do those. Probably more like 1,000 maybe. Once you refine last hitting and laning and stuff like that.
Got it. One more quick question. Like,
Sure.
when I'm analyzing my own replays, like, what should be the things, like, I should be looking out for? Like,
I would say how many last hits you miss is one big one. I would say look for opportunities where you probably could have killed somebody. Like, check to see what their mana was, or check to see what their HP was, or look for opportunities where you could have attacked them more in lane. Because, especially if you're playing mid lane, if there's opportunities where you could have right-clicked them 2 or 3 times, that stuff adds up real fast. Because if you're hitting 60 and it reduces to like 45 damage, you attack that guy 4 times and it's the same as having an extra Dragon Slave. And the more you harass them with your auto attack, more mana you have, which means by the time you hit 6, like if you get better, more efficient at using your mana, you're gonna basically hit 6 every game, and you're gonna be like, wow, I'm ready to do my full combo. So if you mix in like efficient bottle, like null dropping with bottle, and you don't waste your mana in lane, you're going to be really surprised how much easier it is for you to get a kill as soon as you hit 6. Because when I first was playing Dota, I would play Zeus, and I would just spam arc laning every chance I got. And when I hit 6, I'd get my arcane boots, but I would never be full on mana unless I went to base first. But if I was just efficient with my mana, then I would be able to kill my opponent every single time once I hit 6. Because I would still have mana. And so if you just rely on your last hitting to get your gold, and you zone them properly and do all those things and be more efficient about your bottle and usages and stuff, the game will just get easier.
okay.
So I think you're definitely on the right track because you're grasping the concepts almost instantly. You just got to remember to do it when you're playing and take those advantages. So definitely think more about, I'd say the thing you're probably missing the most is the knowledge about how you can trade. Like knowing, oh, I just run the spiders at this guy and he dies, or oh man, I can just right-click this guy because I have boots and he doesn't, or I've got creeps and he doesn't. This is a trade opportunity. So once you understand those trade opportunities really well, it'll help your support play a lot, and it'll also especially help your like 1v1, because that's one of the big things. Everybody focuses on like the last hitting, but it's also heavily about are you making efficient trades? Because if you are, you're getting an advantage. If they have less regen than you and you're making efficient trades, he loses the lane. And then you just need to be able to have the skills to know he's losing the lane. I can now pressure him. So you could do stuff like, hey, let's pretend this is like the middle. Let's say maybe the tier 1 tower's here. creep wave's here. You could just stand in the creep wave or something if you have a ward and you know he's coming. That way, if he walks forward, you can just throw a nuke at him. Or maybe you can right-click him because you know you have so much more regen than him that it doesn't even matter if you aggro the creeps.
Got it.
Like, you can abuse them in that kind of way. So you just have to take those advantages and push them to the limit once you do have them. And once you learn how to do that, you're going to just crap on people. And they're going to get like 10 last hits and their team's going to flame them. Be like, our Invoker's terrible. Stuff like that. So
Okay.
I think you're on the cusp. I think you can do this for sure.
Okay.
All right, do you have any more questions before I go?
No. As of right now, no, that is all I have.
Cool.
If need be, like, I'll just go for another session later in the game.
Yeah, and if you have like small questions, feel free to send them to me on Skype. It's totally fine. I'm happy to answer those. Okay?
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
Purge.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for signing up, and you have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Couldn't find my Skype window.